What's up, guys, and welcome back to Paint Bravely, the podcast where you can find a little bit of encouragement, discover new ways to make your hobby more fun, and most importantly, learn to paint bravely. Now, we are finally in 2021, and things are looking up. And we're gonna have some fun. We're gonna have some fun today. We're gonna talk about some of the stuff we did over the holiday right before 2021, and I suppose I should mention this is not technically 2021 as we're recording this, but I feel like it is. I don't know about you, Brent.
If you hear this audio, it's 2021. We made it.
Right. We made it. I hope. Anyways, what have you been doing over the last couple weeks, Brent? What did you get in your stocking?
Well, I am wearing a nice Indian yellow t-shirt. I love those plain colored t-shirts, and I didn't have any in this color, and some folks who know me well got me one of the missing colors from the color wheel here, and it is also the same color as my lovely Slaves to Darkness warriors, which are really coming along nicely. And yeah, one more thing I want to mention, before we move into the serious stuff, is I posted on Goobertown Cats. The YouTube channel Goobertown Cats has 3 new videos, all from the same day of, the cats kind of being cute on the bed, and I turned on a camera because why not, and edited that up into 3 little videos. One is a 2-hour video of just cats sleeping on a bed. But I did put some nice, music in the background and stuff. Now, the funny thing is, this Goobertown Cats channel has just been a dead channel where I've just been occasionally posting a cat video. And by occasionally, I mean it's been 2 years since the last time I did this. And so the whole channel had maybe like a couple hundred views, but one of these stupid Goobertown Cats videos that I posted actually got picked up by YouTube for a few hours. So
oh no.
Yeah, so one of the videos was I did 100 times speed of cats sleeping on a bed, so it's a couple-minute video of just cats breathing really fast and occasionally changing positions, and that's it. And one song in the background. And I go and check the stats, and it's the whole channel is just a flat line of maybe somebody clicks every hour on one of the videos on the channel. Right. And then this video all of a sudden is getting 50 views an hour, which is a lot for a dead channel. And yeah, there was just one night where YouTube was like, you know what? We're gonna autoplay this after somebody watches some other cat video.
Right, yeah.
And yeah, that tripled the number of views that channel got, and it's stupid, but it was a fun little Christmas miracle there.
Yeah.
Over at Goobertown.
Yeah, I saw that
Cats.
little chart. It was a nice looking chart of just flat blue lines and then just massive spike straight up. It looked good.
That's what you want to see right there.
Oh yeah. That's the dream. That's the literal reason we post, is to see that spike.
Well, in this case, I posted because Goobertown Cats is an ongoing joke for me, and I had to keep the joke alive. I had to keep it going.
Oh yeah.
And if you have 100 gigabytes of cats sleeping, you might as well get some use out of it. So,
I mean, yeah, if you've got 100 gigs of cats, you better be doing something with it. Because that's an absurd amount of footage. Is that 10 hours? 100 gigs?
I recorded 4K, so no, it's a couple hours.
Still is.
But
whatever.
Yeah, it's not really worth it in 4K since it was kind of out of focus and not lit very well because it's my bed. But it's all right.
Got to step up that. That's the thing, right? You gotta up your filmmaking level with these cats. Right, you need to have those lights, auto tracking stuff. Yeah, you know what? There it is, right there. You do the motion tracking. You pick your target, and it follows, right, and it keeps it in focus.
Yeah, I don't need that pointed at my bed. That's not something we need. But no, they were being all cute, so I drug over one light and one camera and set that up. Right. And this was a month or so ago, and I think I just like forgot about him, went off to play Galactic Civilizations 3. And before I even realized that any time had passed, it was 2 hours later and a
Right.
couple turns into the future. And I was like researching some lasers Mark 7 or something, but I had acquired a lot of footage of cats. And, if we're not careful here, this segment is going to turn into the pool table buying and selling shenanigans. So we got to move away from
I don't know
Goobertown
about
cats
that.
here.
Maybe. All I'm saying is go subscribe. Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
Okay. I'll take that plug.
I
We'll
mean,
do that.
You're not selling your cats. It's not quite the same.
Yeah. All right. So give me an update from you, Casey. What's been going on?
I took Christmas off. I took the whole week off. I didn't even post a video, which is absurdly weird.
I noticed that. How does it feel?
Yeah, it feels awful. Like, it honestly doesn't feel good. I don't know. It's a strange thing. Like, I have posted a video every single week for almost 2 years. And to not post one was the weirdest thing. I feel like I'm so far behind right now that I'm never going to catch up. And I don't know why. It makes no sense. Like, it didn't hurt anything. It's not like anything went away, right? But yeah, I don't know, just that habit of doing it all the time. It is a strange thing to just walk away from. Like, I don't know how you do it, Brent. I don't know how you do the every couple weeks, maybe ish sort of. I'll try and get that out. Like, plus a second channel now. Like, you're all over the place, and I don't understand how emotionally you can handle that. But
yeah, listen, if you don't hear from Goobertown Hobbies for a little while, you might want to go check Goobertown Cats, just in case I've gotten like really distracted by editing cat videos. So
yeah, it makes sense. Or if that live stream was left on for 56 hours or something, and maybe we should call, see what's going on.
I appreciate that. I appreciate the concern.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a strange thing. And like, I mean, I did enjoy the time, like not having to get up and, immediately start work. Right. Cause I've got like a limited amount of time, but it's set aside, and I get up and I go to work until, I have to stop. Like, I'm forced to stop. Time limit wise, I have to do other things at a certain time of day. Right. So it was nice to kind of just zone out for a week. Like, I played a whole bunch of Gran Turismo Sport because I bought the super nice like simulator racing wheel, the force feedback. Yeah. I haven't had a racing wheel in probably 20 years. And it's just something that I was feeling real hard, and I went for it. And I've just been driving cars like nonstop.
I'm happy for you.
Yeah, it was a good time. I haven't played video games in basically 2 years, so
right.
It felt good. Yeah.
Right.
I even got to my sister just bought like this fancy Mini Cooper that's all kitted out, super nice with a turbo, lots of horsepower. It's got the little paddles for shifting and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to take that out for a little bit, transfer my Gran Turismo to an actual car for like an hour. And that was pretty good because I live in the middle of nowhere. So we just go dirt roads.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I drive a van. Man, that van. I have to do a piece on that van at some point.
I mean, it's sweet, but for different reasons. So I bet the Mini Cooper was fun. Yeah.
It was nice to kind of get out and do that. Yeah. Yeah. It was kind of like, it rained a little bit, so the ground was nice and soft. Just spinning donuts, going around corners way too fast. Yeah.
On dirt roads. Okay, cool.
Yeah, on dirt roads. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a nice break, but very strange at the same time. Just felt weird, especially on Sunday. I woke up, it's 9:00, and I'm just like super anxious for no reason. Nothing is happening.
Well, I mean, sometimes, progress begets progress. Like once you're in the mode of getting stuff done, like, yeah,
Yeah.
you expect to be constantly sitting down at your hobby desk and stripping and painting something new. Like, and
Hmm.
that's a good thing to be in that mode. What'll be interesting to see is how easily you get back into that. Like,
Yeah. Well, the weird thing is, so today, as we're recording, is Monday, which is the first day of my week. Like most people's, but like, yeah, I didn't do crap for like the first 3 hours. Like, I kind of
oh,
answered some emails and some comments, and I was like, kind of worried there a little bit. I was thinking like, this is a weird thing, right? I'm trying to get back into this. Shouldn't
it
be
turned it into
difficult,
Goobertown Cats. It's going to be 2 years before your next video.
right? Well, because that kind of crosses my mind, right? It's like, well, I said I'd be gone. I didn't say necessarily for how long. Like, I could take another week. Like, no, it's a bad idea. So I painted, I did do like a little palette cleanser kind of thing. Painted up an orc, for my orc army. So not sure what kind of video that's going to be right now, but it's at least done, like all the filming and the painting. So it feels good. I feel like I've done something,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know what that thing is yet.
Yeah, I have piles of footage of projects that'll probably never actually become videos, but you
Hmm.
never know when you need footage of an orc.
That's true. Yeah.
Okay, so Monday is now over and you're not sure what your video is going to be this week. Is that what I'm hearing?
I mean, it'll be about an orc.
Oh, okay.
And
Okay. All right. I see
yeah.
how it is.
By the time this podcast goes up, you'll know what it's about, because the video will have gone up the day before this podcast goes out.
Huh.
So go ahead, check out the eBay Miniature Rescues YouTube channel, see how bad I did.
Just a scramble in the last 45 minutes before you need to upload of trying to make like a stupid skit with your orc and try to come up with an orc voice and everything about, yeah.
I mean, I went out and bought an axe, like an orky axe thing, like that made it into a video already.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I had that. Um,
You should be able to get more than one use out of that.
oh, I'm sure. I mean, I have
Huh.
to. I paid way too much money for it, so it has to, yeah, has to make more appearances. I'm not gonna let that go to waste. Um, yeah. Other than that, it was just kind of a quiet, staying at home for the most part. Christmas, just hanging out. Yeah. Did
Okay,
you do
cool.
anything fancy for Christmas? Did you go anywhere? Did you fly somewhere? Seriously,
No,
Dominic.
didn't travel at all.
Yeah.
Saw a few relatives like in driveways, and
Mm-hmm.
had a Skype call. Had some glurg. It's GL, not a letter in the English alphabet. GG. So it's a Swedish
Okay.
glurg.
Sure.
It's
Sure. Sure.
port wine mixed with whiskey, mixed with spices, and it's one of the
Okay.
family
It's like a.
traditions in my family. Is that's Christmas Eve, like a Swedish Scandinavian thing. So it's like a hot mulled wine with a lot of alcohol content.
Yeah, I was mulled wine was coming to mind. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
delicious. That's a tradition. Normally we do a Swedish smorgasbord, but no
Mm,
smorgasbord this year. Um,
mm.
just a Skype
Not
call with
even a
some.
little bored.
No, but next year we got good feelings about 2021.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Mm,
So I mean, other than a meager Christmas, lots of good stuff going on. Like the last couple of weeks,
hmm.
I've had a full and bountiful time of discovery. So first up,
Mm.
I want to point out that I have well, sorry, I didn't discover it, but I discovered a YouTube video that told me another way to replace your FEP film on 3D printers. So the
Okay.
and oh, I apologize, I'm blanking on it now, but you can search in YouTube and you'll find it. I am a failure, but anyway,
We'll
FEP
put it down
is
in the comments
there
or
you
in the
go.
description.
That's
Yeah.
problem solving.
Mm-hmm.
So
Save it for
FEP
later.
is what, fluorinated ethylene propylene or something, but
Something like that.
it's a fluorinated polymer. It's essentially Teflon. It's just a material. Like,
Yeah.
the 3D printers, there's SLA and FEP, and there's like a lot of acronyms and fancy sounding technology, but it's remarkably simple, these 3D printers in some ways. And
Yeah.
so FEP just means clear plastic sheet that's not too sticky. And so
Pretty much.
it's essentially clear Teflon is what it is. It's a thin film of clear Teflon, and this is on the bottom of your vat of resin, and the light shines up through the bottom of the vat and does the polymerization, and you get your print. But this is the part of the printer that most visibly becomes damaged over time. Just a
Mm-hmm.
really thin sheet of clear plastic, and you get scrapes and scuffs, and it discolors a little bit, and just
Mm-hmm.
eventually you need to replace it. And because it is one of the consumables on a printer, the various companies sell replacement FEP sheets, and they're moderately expensive, and they're a bit of
Mm-hmm.
a pain to replace.
Yeah,
But
that's true.
you can just go to the hardware store. So, I mean, I go to McMastercar.com, which is, in America at least, it's like the online hardware store. And you can go and search for anything you want, from water pumps to washers the size of your head, to any kind of wire you want, to rolls of whatever plastic sheeting you need, and you can buy
Mm-hmm.
FEP film. So McMastercar, just look up FEP film. I got the stuff that is 0.005 inches thick,
Mm-hmm.
and you can buy it by the foot. It's still kind of expensive. It's for a 1 foot by 2 foot section, it was $17, which is
Was that
which is about the price of what you'd pay
4, 8?
for it for a tiny little section from
Yeah, you
a
get like
3D printer
2
company.
in a pack for that. Yeah,
Yeah.
for like $20. They're like $10 each.
But yeah, the thing that caused me to go down this road is I was having problems with my Photon Mono X, and because of COVID, their supply lines are a bit messed up, and so like I couldn't get a replacement FEP from them. But it's just a commodity. It's a material. You just buy a piece of
Mm-hmm.
this plastic from anywhere, and anyway, I put it in, and then I got like 20 perfect prints in a row, and it was just like I've had basically the best run of printing I've ever had, in terms of every print was coming out right, and it's a mono printer, so it prints faster, and so just every couple hours I was getting like 18 figures out. This is going to be a whole
Wow.
different thing, but I printed a lot of not female Imperial Guard, so that'll be a
Right.
whole other thing.
um, is it the same thickness as the ones that they sell?
Yeah.
Then what could possibly be different? I mean, if it's oversized, are you kind of clamping it in there and then cutting the excess, or are you actually trying to cut that to size?
That's what you do. I think that's what you do anyway. I think like if you buy a pack of FEP, they're just, a centimeter wider than they need to be on either side.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah, I haven't actually replaced mine yet.
yeah. And so this was the first time I'd tried a replacement, but it worked. You need to, there's a little bit of a trick in that you need to give it a little bit of slack, because
Mhm.
then when you tighten it down, it
Right, it's
really
gonna
clamps
pull.
down a lot and stretches it a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got it clamped down in there. It stretched to be tight and bouncy and supple, and it was a very nice, fresh FEP. I was very happy with it. But
Well, that's really cool.
We can move on from this, but I just wanted to let people, because I don't know exactly how to include this information into a regular video, but FEP is just a commodity. Not a lot of stores sell them, but you can just buy a roll of FEP if you want and cut it to size. And there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I love that, like, I mean, I guess outside the box thinking, like it is a material you can just buy. It's like wet palettes and parchment paper, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, all these wet palette companies sell replacement packs for their wet palette paper.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it's all garbage. It's garbage paper. It's like parchment paper, people. Works. Yeah, I don't know. I like that. I like that solution type of thing.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I'm gonna have to pick up some and try that out, because yeah, I have a feeling that mine are on the edge. You know, I've had a few failed prints where you gotta put your finger on the bottom of it to push up that resin that's cured in a kind of flat spot on the bottom of that FEP. So yeah, I feel it's not as tight as it used to be, and it's probably the reason why I've had a few failed prints.
Yeah.
You know, trying to print, especially large things, it's not quite sticking. So
yeah, the one I was replacing, I had damaged it enough that like the center of the print sheet just was not working at all. Anything I tried to build in the center of the plate was just an automatic failure that I'd have to pry off the already damaged FEP sheet.
Okay.
And so for like a couple of prints, I was, you know, going through the hassle of, you know, building my models only on the outer 2/3. And,
Right.
and I was just like, no, this is ridiculous. Order from the hardware store, get this squared away. So that is an option if your printer's out there. But what do you got to tell us about painting? Change the topic here. Get out of printing. What do you got for painting?
Well, in fact, I've been painting a whole bunch of 3D printed bases.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been working on this corn army like a bunch. You know, and that's why I was talking about that like palette cleanser with that orc, because I just wanted to paint something quick, get it out, you know, get back into the swing of things, making videos. But I printed out a ton of bases. And I've just been kind of batch painting all these up for the corn army, and like they look so good. So excited about this army.
So if you have a lot of bases, do you stick them down to like a cookie sheet, or are they just loose and floating around? What's your strategy?
So I have now, this is an interesting kind of thing. I have a Prime box, and I've had it for a long time. It's like 4 years now, ongoing. And it's a literal Amazon Prime box, but it's also my Prime box, if you get what I'm saying. Right? So I thought that was funny. So
no, I got you.
I just kept going there. Yeah, you got it. Yeah. Yeah, I've been using it to prime for a long time, and it's like got those like gnarly beads of paint that's just built up layers and layers. It's just caked.
Yes.
I don't know. It's kind of a cool like piece of art all on its own. It's just this box that's been just destroyed with paint. But yeah, I can fit a lot of stuff on that. So I'll do bases like that and then prime them black. And then I came back with the airbrush and threw on some color, and then mostly I'm using dried pigments.
So are you taping them inside the once cardboard box, or are you just letting them float around in there, or what?
Float.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're actually on top of the box. It's not even an open box.
Okay.
It's pretty thin, so I'll have to grab it and like point it at the camera at some point. It's close. Oh, it's like 10 feet away from. I'll get it in a little bit. Yeah, that way you can see what I mean. But yeah, I don't know, if you paint from a like a proper distance, I suppose, using spray paint primers, the models don't tend to move, even bases, and resin's pretty heavy. So yeah, not too many problems. Although I accidentally grabbed a can of semi-gloss black primer.
Ooh.
Like totally didn't mean to, and I've had to like fight that on the ones I've been doing so far. So that kind of sucks. Try not to do that if you're gonna paint anything with spray paint. I like don't ever use semi-gloss. It's the worst because it's like the glossiest semi-gloss you'll ever put on a miniature. Like it's not the same thing as like semi-gloss acrylic paints or like the actual varnish that we'd put over it. Like you need a lot of matte varnish to matte that down. So yeah, I've been doing that a lot. Um kind of like I'm trying to get the army done, and I'm trying to paint it kind of in order of the troops that I have, while also trying not to make each one boring and necessarily like part of a series. Because when you do series videos on YouTube, it's like part one, part two. It's like this diminishing returns as you go down the line. And I've
Sure.
always had that problem with those types of videos. So trying to frame each one, it's like I painted this thing and then I painted this thing. And it's like, but it's the same, it's just a continuation
Yeah.
of the same army. So like I'm trying to not make it boring because it's like the same colors too.
Right.
I feel like it's gone well so far. And I think probably pushing it a little um at this point, or I am pushing it a little, but I think one more video of the corn army, just finishing everything. Um, that's kind of my goal for next week. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean,
Uh,
I'm sort of dealing with the same thing. I really am trying to get this yellowy orange Slaves to Darkness Chaos Army done, but there's the question of how many videos do I
yeah.
make of that along the way. And so the day we're recording this, I released one of an Ogroid and a Fomeroid that are, part of that series, but at least one of them has blue skin and one has purple skin. So they're a little bit
Right.
different. So it's not just that same yellow orange. And later on I'll probably make a video with the like bigger flying monsters and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I totally hear you. If you're just painting 100 bloodthirsters, well, you can make a video about your 100 I'm sorry, I don't know the names for the corn blood demons, but
It's blood something, and they're all the same.
okay.
So I don't worry about it. I said bloodthirsters in the blood letters video in the intro, and only one comment about it, but I did say it like in an actual video where it was scripted. Like I know what they're called, and I wrote it down, and I still messed it up. So
Which
don't beat yourself up.
which army do you think people are the most particular about? Like, orc
Mm,
people have a reputation, and I think corn
sure.
people have a reputation too. I'm wondering, like, which stupid
Huh.
naming mistake, which fans would be most angry at you? Maybe you already know the answer. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I probably get the most comments about orcs because either there's not enough DACA. That's always one.
Okay, yeah,
Um, I didn't say "duh orc boys" enough, or some such iteration, or whatever the case is. For orcs, there's a lot. Like I was just going through the orc codex today, trying to figure out how to position this model that I painted because it's an old model. It's a named unit that doesn't exist anymore. Um, Unfortunately, it didn't work out how I was planning, so I'm a little sad about that. But like the names are incredibly like ridiculous, which I love. But yeah, I think that orc players are probably pretty particular about that.
yeah,
So I don't know, like corn,
yeah. The corn players,
nobody's
I can
been
imagine.
overly,
Yeah,
yeah,
I can imagine some fairly chilled back guys who are just like, yeah, he's got blood in it. He knows what he's talking about.
right. That's the biggest thing. Like blood for the blood god.
Yeah,
If it looks, cornish,
it's red. He
demony,
said the word blood.
yeah,
He's still painting with red.
yeah,
He's still painting with red. You're gonna get a lot of leeway out
exactly.
of that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that I'm doing okay on that front. Um, Nurgle, never had a problem with Nurgle. I think pretty much anything goes in Nurgle. You say whatever you want. Um, yeah, because I've straight up messed up names in titles of videos for Nurgle and nobody cared. So seems fine. Um, Yeah, I can't think of any other ones that are particularly tough, like naming wise.
Right.
Um, okay, maybe okay, Gits like Gloomspy Gits maybe a little bit.
Man, I actually don't know enough about the elven fandom. Like I'm just wondering if
Right.
like the Lumineth people, like if you start mispronouncing words, I see I haven't painted any elves in a long time, so I don't know. Let this
Hmm.
cat in.
Let this cat in. All right, now is our and I know Brent's probably gonna come back again and listen to this because yeah, I called him out on that documentary thing last week, so we want to keep that rolling. He's coming back quick, so I don't know what to say. Pick something, comment. Anyways, um, so yeah, I don't know. Like, I think maybe some of the old stuff I've heard people kind of uh not give me crap about, but mention something like, oh, that's a phoenix guard, not a whatever serpent guard. You know what I mean? Like, I
That's
don't
what
know
I'm
the
talking
specifics of
about.
those,
That's what
but
I'm talking about.
yeah, yeah, the Lumineth people, I think they're too new. The,
They're
the
too
Realm
new.
Lords are just
Yeah.
too new. Yeah. Um, Caradron Overlords, like I've said the word Caradron like 20 different ways,
Caradron.
and right, and I'm pretty sure it's actually Caradron. I'm pretty sure that's the actual pronunciation. I could be wrong, but like for the most part,
None of
nobody's
these
really
were
said anything
actual
about that.
things until about 2.5 years ago, so you're fine, Casey. Like,
I know that's
yeah.
really the thing, right? Like, so okay, in that case, with that amount of evidence we have, the further something goes back, the more particular we'll say people are.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I'd buy that. I'd buy that. So
Yeah, I mean orcs go back.
so you're getting there on the corn chaos guys though, huh?
Yeah. I've got most of the blood letters painted.
Right, right.
I've got one more bloodthirster who's in real bad shape. And then a handful of the blood crushers that need to be dealt with.
I
Right.
don't know. Just so we're clear, audience, I have no idea what any of these are. I could not tell you the difference between a blood crusher, a bloodletter, and a bloodthirster. So
All right. So a blood
no, I don't care either.
letter is a dude. It's just a dude, right? It's a demon. He's got a gnarly sword and he's kind of demony faced, right? And that's normal. That's the thing. A blood crusher is the same thing, but he's riding a metal pig.
What's
Okay,
that pig called?
it's a blood crusher, right?
Okay.
But it's the same guy, same model, the blood letter, but he's riding a metallic pig, and
Hmm.
therefore is a blood crusher. A bloodthirster is a greater demon of corn that thirsts for the blood. So he's bigger, right? It's a big demon. Still in the same vein, but just bigger. That's pretty much it. That's really it.
All right. I'm going to ask you later in the episode. We'll see if you give me the same answer or not. I'm not actually. I don't care. I really don't care.
No, I know.
Let's see here.
Blood for the
So,
blood god. Got it. Nailed it.
would be cool to see a documentary about you making this army, though, right?
Yes, it would actually. I mean, technically, if you just put all three of the videos together, it's close enough.
Close enough. Nah.
Yeah. I mean, if honestly, actually, you know what? That might be the thing, right? To take, say, all of the progress that you've made on your Slaves to Darkness, um, cut out most of the talking head stuff, all of the B-roll, all the time lapses, and make a legit like half hour, 45-minute, like this is how I did everything from A to B. This is how long it took for real. Make a legitimate documentary about it.
I will try. I will try. Like
It'd be sweet.
this is going to be a big long project, and yeah, I'll definitely have like an end wrap up video with all the time lapses and everything. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I can do all the editing required to make a sweet documentary.
I mean, I'll help you. I'll help you.
Okay, we'll talk then,
edit it
because
for
I'm
you.
going to have hundreds of gigabytes in that folder, and I will want to
Oh,
put it to
absolutely.
use. So, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, we could even like we do some interviews. Like people like, it was June 12th. I remember the day. Sitting around, I saw that pink go down on those Slaves of Darkness, and I was like, Brent, I don't know what you're thinking. And then it worked out. I was amazed. You know what I mean?
Make
We'll
a
just
silly
like
little
short
story about
interviews.
it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And then we'll put it out in high quality. You got the 4K going. We'll print some Blu-rays. Yeah. Be perfect.
Wonderful. So
Yeah.
I did actually want to talk about documentaries done by people who actually know how to make them. Not that we're incompetent in everything, but these people know what we're doing. So
Yeah.
there are now like 2 pretty real documentaries about our hobby. And so we talked about one last time, and that one was the miniature wargaming, the movie. And so that one is still for sale over on Amazon if you're American, and for UK, I think it'll be for sale next year, apparently.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, and on that topic, go check out Shrine to Chaos. Dave had an interview with basically everybody who was in that film. He had one episode of his podcast where on like a Zoom call or something, he had the director, he had the 4 kind of main characters that were followed around for the documentary. He had Rick Priestley. He had another guy who'd written an important book on miniature wargaming, and like that was a good podcast episode. And it was actually really interesting to catch up with those characters from the film. I think like a couple of years after filming stopped on that one.
Yeah.
So last time I was kind of giving my review of that doc, and I was saying like the ending for the stories for the 4 characters was like a little bit of a downer. They just went to conventions, and the conventions weren't that cool, basically.
Right.
And there were like lots of shots of like reigning Britain. And so by the end, like I was actually like a little bit like concerned for the well-being of some of the people in that film. So it was really good to get an interview with them all like a couple of years later. Seems like they're all doing well. They're all in high spirits. So, everyone made it out okay and is still enjoying the hobby. So
good. That's awesome. Yeah, I still haven't watched that.
Yeah, but it again, that was like a professionally made, and you've given me crap about it now, but documentary. Documentary.
I didn't say anything. I didn't say a thing.
I heard that last time I went to go let Gordon into the room, you said something.
I may have said
Okay.
more than a few things. I may have said something when you got up just a minute ago. Who knows?
Who knows? I certainly don't.
No. Brent doesn't listen to this podcast. There you go. Just picking up cats, putting them in the Indominus boxes, hitting the microphone.
Every time.
Every time.
There is another documentary that I watched that you apparently didn't yet. That's on YouTube, free of charge. It's been out for like a week now. You could have watched it. And this is, let's see, Paint and Plastic. I did like a poor move for searchability. It's Paint ampersand Plastic.
Okay, sure.
Paint ampersand Plastic, a mini documentary. And that's on, did I write it down here? Toy Tin Soldiers. Hold on, let me scroll down. Oh, I didn't write down the name of the channel.
Didn't write it down.
Matt is going to bail me out and probably make fun of me and whatever text scrolls across the video.
Brent, you had 2 weeks to come up with an answer for this question.
Dear Casey, you didn't even watch it yet.
Okay, you got me there.
Okay, you go to YouTube, you search Paint and Plastic, a mini documentary, and look, if you get a channel that's like Tin Soldier, Tiny Tin Soldier, Tiny.
That sounds right.
Yeah, it sounds real good.
I mean, you could have just made that up, and I might have just said that anyway.
But you'll know you have the right video if it's a half-hour video that's very professionally made, and it's essentially a lot of interviews with painters in South Africa, is my understanding. And it's very well done, and it's folks like us who paint either for a hobby or for a living, and talking about, kind of increasing awareness of this hobby and increasing awareness of this as like an art form. And I thought it was really interesting. It started off by each of the characters kind of saying how their conversation with a normie usually goes when they mention this hobby. Like, oh, what do you like to do? I paint miniatures. And the classic response to what do you like to do? I paint miniatures is, oh yeah, that's nice. Oh yeah, cool.
Yeah.
What's that?
That's pretty average.
What's that? Oh, I paint these little, toy soldiers and wizards. Oh yeah, that's nice. That's cool. Yeah. And to the extent that you can get a normie to listen to you talk about the hobby at all, I think that is a fairly typical response of just like, hey, you paint toys. All right, that's nice. And so a lot of the angle of this doc was exploring that, and how this is a hobby, or how this is an art form. It's a hobby, it's an art form. And kind of going into also, what it does for our mental well-being to be sitting there and having all of your attention absorbed into, this little figure right in front of you, and trying to get the lighting right and the expression. And I thoroughly enjoyed that half hour. It's on YouTube if you're watching this. We could probably put a link.
Yeah, I'd say that's a really good idea.
That's a really good idea.
Link in the description below. Yeah. It is in fact Tin Toy Productions.
There you go. I knew it.
Tin Toy Productions, and the specific video is Paint and Plastic, a mini documentary.
Paint & Plastic, a mini documentary. In brackets.
Subtitle. Yeah, in brackets. Yeah. And it is in fact 29 minutes and 15 seconds long.
Nailed it.
Yeah. Sweet.
So, I enjoyed watching both of these docs. I know you haven't seen either of them yet, Casey, but
that's correct.
but I gotta believe, with all this time off that you've given yourself, that
I was learning how to drive
cars. Okay, now we've been over this. Okay. No, for real though, I think it's awesome that like real filmmakers are taking a stab at this topic, and it was thoroughly enjoyable for me to watch both of those. I am so glad they exist, and I hope folks keep working on projects like this. This is great.
Yeah. Well, like we said last time, the more eyes that we get on this hobby, the more awareness that people have, of what it takes to, I mean, even just at a like a fairly low level, right? At the beginning level, it's a difficult hobby, It just takes time to learn and all that stuff. So yeah, like any kind of movie or whatever it is that brings attention to that is all right with me. Yeah.
Man, I was so happy in, oh man, I'm blanking on the name of the TV show, Stranger Things, when they just opened the entire show with kids playing D&D on a map with figurines, and like the crux of the whole story is they're worried about the Demigorgon, which they set up as being a scary mini in the foreshadowing shot in the very beginning of the first episode. Yes. That was great.
That's true, and I think that that type of thing is becoming more common. I mean, you go back and watch ET, right? Which is what they were riffing on for that. They're literally playing D&D when they order the pizza.
Were they?
Yeah.
It's been so long since I've seen E.T. I did not pick up on that.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I didn't realize that sort of until after watching Stranger Things, and then they kind of talked about the references that they're going for, the nostalgia hits, right? But then E.T. just happened to come up on Netflix, and having a young child, I thought, why don't we try it and see what happens? And he actually happened to really like E.T. We watched it like 40 times, so super weird for a 3-year-old.
Yeah, there was a show on Netflix. It's a year or two old now about Ted Kaczynski. It's like a mini series. It's like 8 episodes. It's a drama, but it's about the like FBI agents who figured out where Ted Kaczynski was living and eventually apprehended him. But there's a couple of scenes in that show where like the children of the FBI agent are just like making a huge mess on the kitchen table playing Warhammer.
Really?
And,
no way.
and there's like a scene where like Daddy's coming home, like get that tabletop RPG game off of the kitchen table.
That's so good.
I was just like, yes, like I like freeze framed and like zoomed in, enhance. Like I'm pretty sure those are Bretonians. Like
right. Well, okay. The Last of Us 2 that just came out not that long ago, right? Tons of Warhammer references in that game all throughout.
Really?
Like their airbrush stations that are all, it's post-apocalyptic or whatever. They're all run down, compressor, like an average compressor laying out on the table on a hobby desk, a nice like level 3 hobby desk in that game. There are actual Space Marines that, if I'm sure Games Workshop probably won't care, but they're obvious Space Marines on a table, like in a few different places in that game. Yeah. So you can get those screenshots. You can find them all over. They were making the rounds in the Facebook groups when that game came out, for sure. Yeah.
I missed it.
It's good stuff, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still haven't actually played that game. But like I said, I haven't really played video games for a few years now, so.
Understandable. Yeah, I haven't gotten through one yet. I haven't started one yet. I don't own one.
I mean, you are picking up games that are like 200-hour long type of games, or that never end. Like actually have no end. So I get it.
That's all right. Okay, what else have you been up to, Casey? I've still got more. Like it's been a busy 2 weeks. I've still got more stuff. You got stuff. It's your turn.
Christmas. I suppose it's kind of a funny way to tell a story about a Christmas gift. Well, you'll be the judge of that. But so like I usually put together like an Amazon wish list for Christmas, right? And I put hundreds and hundreds of things. It's just like my normal list to pull from whenever I need to go back to find something. But it doubles as a Christmas list or a birthday or whatever, because people just go on there and it's like, yeah, like they'll pick something out that I like and I'll not even have remembered that I put it on the list. So it's all the same. But I put on, because I asked you a couple months ago, like, what arm are you using to hold your camera from your rig? Right. And then the ball head that you are also using to mount your camera to with the hot, whatever shoe.
Yeah.
But yeah, like all of these different things. And I ended up getting like a series of gifts kind of back to back that were like the interlinking pieces to build this rig. It was just kind of funny. Because as I was opening them, it was like, ooh, and I would attach the next piece. And then, oh, thank you, and attach the next piece. And it ended up being this monstrous arm that is now hanging from my ceiling behind me that holds a camera. And it's like,
awesome.
It ended up being like one gift in total, but in like 5 different packages.
Oh, that's like what you're doing. You're painting one army, but you're making like 5 different videos about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good way to look at it. Yeah. But yeah. I think that they were, at least my family was a little bit confused. It's like, I'm just putting it all together. And it's like, I got this for Christmas. Like this one thing. Like, yeah, it's an arm that holds a camera hanging
I
from a
gotcha.
ceiling.
They weren't. They
Right.
thought they got you 5 gifts, but it was really one
Yes,
awesome gift.
it was like one awesome gift that all went together. It's like
Okay.
it's like if you bought a transformer piece by piece and then they didn't realize that's what it was. You put it all together and you're like, look, a transformer. Oh. So
No,
it
I
was pretty
gotcha.
awesome. I was very happy about it, and I've been using that rig. I have this sweet. I'll have to throw up a picture. I just took a picture to post on social media, but really sweet rig that is right up behind me here that holds a nice big ring light that's adjustable. It can go up to the ceiling and down on like a telescoping pole. And then the actual camera rig, the nice thing, it's an arm that goes directly in the middle of that ring light. And I can adjust the camera from there. So it's like in the perfect spot every time, telescopes up to the ceiling. It's got power up from the ceiling, it runs down, like no cords, nothing. I could just hit record and go. So I finally like figured out that system.
Living the
I
dream,
think.
my friend.
Yeah, like I feel real good about it.
Casey with the level 6 hobby desk over here.
I mean, it is overkill at this point. So
Ooh, so
yeah,
good. So good.
I feel good. I feel good about it. I have a bunch of shadow boxes on my walls that have miniatures inside them, closing. You know, yeah, it's a good space. Also, my sister got me a really nice print of an orc somebody had painted, and I wish I could remember the name of the person, but I can't.
It's okay. Matt knows the name.
I wish he did.
Yeah, Matt, we're going to need you to do like a voiceover for most of this podcast.
That's probably a good call.
Say nothing right now if you agree.
Either way, he'll have said something. I don't know.
I don't know. He has the final
seems
say
odd.
on all of this, so we can't give him orders. Like, he'll just embarrass us.
That's true.
He'll find ways.
Well, I can. Yeah, I don't have the print even close to me. I'm really not prepared for this episode for no reason at all.
You don't have to tell people that.
Well, I mean more in that, like, I didn't realize I was going to be talking about all these things that would obviously have been nice to be like, and look
I
at
see.
this.
Joking, not prepared. Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah. We're always prepared for this podcast. Of course we are. We are professionals.
I've got an actual topic. I'm going to save us right
Sweet.
now, Casey. Okay. So
save us. I thought we were.
I've been working on my. Yeah,
all
we're going to save us, right? I'm trying to save us, but there's a cat trying to use the litter box.
Sabotage us.
So
It's fine.
you
I
need to
can't hear
save
it.
us while this cat does its business, because there's going to be a lot of scratching for a moment. And
I mean, I feel like it's fine. This happened last time you mentioned it, and then it was like an awkward thing that now I'm trying to listen to see if it's cutting through. That's really ruining this whole thing. I'm not ruining this podcast at all.
okay. Look, I went before the podcast, but Gordon did not. So that's what we're dealing with here.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
They got the run of the place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm ready to save the podcast now.
Okay.
I'm ready. I got a topic. Okay. So I've been working on my Chaos Army, and they came out with that new Start Collecting box that is 10 monopose warriors, 10 monopose knights, and a monopose chaos lord on cartridge rack. And they are beautiful models, and they're awesome enough that you would love to have more than 10 of those warriors in an army and more than 5 of those knights. So I have been in the process of trying to do lazy conversions to make those monopose models not look like an exact duplicate of something else in the army. And
so when you say lazy conversion, why don't you break that down a little bit? What's the difference between a lazy conversion and a regular conversion?
Well, I have all these like images in my mind of pictures I've seen on Reddit of like green stuff conversions that are just half green stuff and half original plastic. By lazy conversions, I mean no green stuff, making like a minimum number of cuts and regluings in the model. And so these models, so they're like sword and shield or maul and shield. And some of them you can replace the shield arm. So
Mm.
I think in the set of 10, there were 6 that you could trade shield arms, and it's not a perfect fit. Like, some of these models are 3 or 4 pieces, some of them are 6 or 7 pieces for just an infantry unit. Yeah. And they all go together differently, but 6 of them at least have a piece that is a like left elbow that connects to a shield, sort
Right.
of. And like the joint's a
Yeah.
little bit different on each of them, but with enough plastic glue, you can make a swap.
Yeah. With enough
So
plastic glue, you can melt that line away.
right, and it can
Yeah.
still mostly look like he has an elbow, and that his left arm is the correct length and
Right.
at
I
the
mean,
right
shields
angle.
are
Yeah.
forgiving for that reason.
They
Like, you can
do hide a
basically
lot of
cut
stuff.
half their
Yeah.
arm off. Yeah. I love shields
Yeah.
for that.
So my first step on this is like 6 of the models I was able to just swap the shields all around. So they're
Mhm.
still holding the shield in like the same place, but at least the design on the front of the shield is different. So, some of them have the big chaos star and some of them have
Mhm.
like a face glued to their shield and whatever. They got different chaosy designs on the front of their shield. So I was able to
Yeah.
swap a bunch of those. And these models are nice, I guess, in that they do have like the normal head cavity on the neck, like the
Right, yeah.
normal kind of like ball joint head socket.
Mhm.
So there's that at least. So then the next step is to go through the heads collection, and I did a bunch of swapping with the knights, and just make sure that like the matchy for my original set of warriors did not have the exact same head. So
Right.
was able to get several new heads into the collection from other kits,
Mhm.
and also just made sure that I was rotating them through if I was using some of the same heads.
Mhm.
Okay, and those two things, the heads and the shields, does not make as much difference as you would want it to. Like if you
Right.
it turns out that it's really the silhouette of the model that makes
Mhm.
the biggest difference, and so a lot of that is the weapon and the pose of the weapon arm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so changing to big horns on the helmet versus no horns on the helmet, like that does help. That helps, but
Yeah, the overall aesthetic, yeah.
yeah, the design on the shield, my my conclusion is that makes almost no difference in whether you can recognize it as the same model or not. So in my second set of 10 Chaos Warriors here, I'm I left the first set exactly as it was, exactly as the instructions told me to build those models. But it's the second set of 10 here that I'm having a lot of fun with the conversions on. Now, what's made a lot of difference is the weapon arm. So,
Mhm.
I mean, it's pretty easy to cut like an axe halfway up the haft and replace that axe head with a mace.
Sure.
Or if you cut the axe haft way down near the hand, it's pretty easy to put a sword on there. Like
Sure.
the actual pommel of an axe looks exactly the same as the pommel of a sword or mace or whatever.
Yeah.
Is just the cross guard that's different. Like you don't have an axe that has a cross guard
Right.
above the hand, but
That would be strange.
what I found, and anyone who does conversions knows this already, but the thing that makes a huge difference is making a slice at the wrist and turning the angle of the weapon.
Yes.
And that I found that makes all the difference in really making these look like different figures.
Mm-hmm.
And I will make sure that we include a few of these pictures because there's a couple that I'm really proud of here that arguably I made a better figure than what the folks at GW came up with. There's a couple that look really good. So the problem with these monopose figures is that a lot of them are really in action poses, and like really distinctive action poses. And if there's two of them doing exactly the same thing, frozen at that same moment in time when they're swinging an axe in a certain way, it looks weird. But
Yeah.
Couple little snips, couple glues.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen the update photos, and I really like the way that they look because they look like, I don't want to say like more dynamic, but maybe because they're so different from the other ones, or different enough, I guess. Um, it definitely makes a difference when you put them all next to each other. They don't look the same, which is really cool. And I love doing conversions like that where it is an easy kind of thing. It's like a couple of snips, like you don't even have to file anything down. It's like clean, as long as it's a clean cut, it's going to go back together clean. And you put that primer over it, and all of a sudden, it's a whole new model, right? Um, yeah,
So
it's nice.
yeah, I mean, I've been getting comments on various YouTube videos saying like, "Can you do a video on conversions?" And I don't know enough about it to really make a video on conversions, but I'm learning and I'm having a lot of fun with this. Like, kind of
Yeah,
arose by necessity because I've got this second set of 10 warriors. I don't want them to look identical to the first set of 10 warriors.
right.
So I've gotta make them different somehow, but having a lot of fun. And this is like a really creative thing. So one tip that I will give is I've got two sets of clippers here, and one of them is from Redgrass Games. They're just very small, very sharp, and have like a very narrow actual cutting surface. Very,
Right.
they actually don't work for despruing things very well because they're so small.
Hmm,
But they're sharp enough that they're great for just cutting through a wrist and leaving like two flat edges. And so,
that's nice. Yeah.
yeah, so it's like an expensive pair of clippers, and I find that they don't have like the length to really get into the sprue, like the a sheet of sprue very
Right.
well and cut all the places you want. They're also kind of small; they like kind of fall out of my hands. But I found that they're like just a really sharp pair of clippers,
Hmm.
and so they're perfect for just like I need a flat cut on this wrist that doesn't destroy the plastic on either side of it,
Yeah.
and that's been working well. I assume like a really sharp X-Acto blade is another possibility, but this is
That
nice and
that does
simple.
work.
Clip, clip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like in my experience with converting, like the X-Acto blade has come in handy for the most part because it is so thin that you're not pushing plastic out of the way so much. Like with the sprue cutters like that, although those sound like they're much better than average
Yeah.
sprue cutters. Um, but you can actually get, and I think X-Acto even sells kits that are like little mini saws.
Mm-hmm.
And they're actually like kits that a lot of people who do a lot of conversions use, because it does clean cut those things. Like there's almost, it's a very minimal loss of actual plastic in between. Um, I don't have any of that stuff. I just do what you're doing basically. Is like snip as best I can, as clean as I can, and hope for the best. Plastic glue generally will cover up any major issues.
Right.
Um, yeah, otherwise like some milliput or some you know gap filling medium, whatever you have, like it'll do the job, right? But yeah, the cleaner you can get those cuts, especially on a wrist, like yeah, it's
Yeah.
nice when it's like a nice sheer cut. You just twist the wrist just a little bit. Yes, it's a good
Ooh.
feeling.
Because it totally changes the profile. It changes like what action it looks like they're doing.
Hmm.
Um, Yet there's one in particular that I'll show right here that's it changes it from looking like he's swinging down to swinging up, and like it totally
Right. Yeah.
changes the action that the figure is doing and definitely makes him look like a whole different character.
Hmm.
And like I said, I'm newer to conversions, and these are very simple what I'm doing, but it's pretty clear that GW is done with the design philosophy of legs, torsos, arms, and heads.
Yeah.
And so they are way down the chain of monopose models. I
Well,
mean,
I mean, to be fair though, like the 10 Slaves to Darkness models look better than any other Slaves to Darkness model that have ever come out.
right.
So
And
I totally get why they're doing it, you know?
right. No, fair enough. But as hobbyists, we must now learn to do some conversions, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited about it though. And
Yeah.
there's other things, like if a model has something really distinctive on them, I cut it off. So there was one model that's carrying around a head by the hair.
Right. Yeah.
Like the second guy, I turned him into my horn blower. Like, okay,
Oh, there you
he's
go.
holding something, but we'll cut the head off, and then from the old Chaos Warrior kit, I was able to put a horn in there.
Very nice. Yeah. I like
But
that.
there's I mean, these newer kits do not have any options other than you can switch the heads around,
Pretty much. Yeah. Like here's your one option. Yeah, it's that you're flipping through the book, right? That's telling you what pieces to put where. And
Right.
yeah, that interchangeable part here, it's like you get one of those every so many pages now, not
Yeah.
every page. It used to
Yeah.
be like, we gave you legs and arms and torsos and heads. Just go to town. Do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a little bit of a bummer, but I get it.
But yeah, so I have this newest generation of knights and warriors here, and the one older generation. And like the one older generation, there's like 2 wrist sockets, and you can put whatever you want in their left and right hand, but they're
Right.
still
'Cause
like
they're just standing there.
up, holding them like their wrists at like, belly button level, and just like
Yep.
you get to decide like the angle of their hands and what's in each hand. And so there's
Yeah.
some advantages there. You can decide whether or not they have shields. That's kind of cool. But
Yeah. I mean, that was back in the rank and file days where they had to fit on a 25 mil square base right next to each other. No movement. The capes were all straight down.
yep.
And realistically, especially for Slaves to Darkness stuff, it was like, if you paint them like what, pink, then they're Slanesh, Slaves to Darkness. You paint them green, they're Nurgle, Slaves to Darkness, and you could use those as troop choices. So I think we've come a long way. It's like monopose, monocolor almost, especially for the troops like that. The only thing that really bothers me about some of the newer monopose stuff, and I suppose it really only applies to some of them, are capes. Because when a cape is flowing a certain way, and if you look at even your Slaves to Darkness, like they have capes, right? That dictates how much of a conversion and what kind you can actually do. Because if you all of a sudden change the directionality, well, then half your model looks like it's going the wrong direction, right?
Sure.
Stormcast, I think, are probably the biggest offenders for this, because their capes are all over the place, flowy, and they're usually like, it's strong. The wind is strong with them, like their capes are like 90 degrees from the ground because there's a lot of wind or something, storminess. But yeah, that does limit the possibilities a little bit, and I think they look cooler as is, but yeah, you're limited a little bit, and that's kind of a bummer because you'd think that you could do a lot more with some of those, but like that female Stormcast that we both like a lot. It's like that's kind of its own one thing. Not much else you can do with that.
Yeah, she's got like would she have a maul across her shoulder?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a
Change that
divot in the
weapon.
shoulder. You can. I've seen that. I've seen people do that. But I mean, even the handle is like there's a divot in the shoulder where the handle rests.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So, there are issues. And then the cape is going in one direction. So whatever weapon you have, it's not like you could necessarily point that in some other direction. It just introduces more issues. Like the more cape, the more issues.
Right. Yeah, some of the in some ways, like simple conversions are the only conversions you can do on these. Like there is no medium conversion, I guess. There's you can
right. You can't just cut them in half. Like the top half and the bottom half doesn't work.
Yeah, there's a lot of kits from 10 years ago that you could do a ton of mixing and matching between kits, and I am doing that with these knights and warriors, but all of those mixing and matching involve like cutting a weapon in half and trying to glue it together again the right way. And um, but I am having fun. Like, I haven't
Yeah.
done a lot of conversion in the last few years, and I mean, it's a lot of fun if you're like, oh, this piece looks really good here.
Yeah.
Oh, like I can turn this axe into this guy is now holding a banner, because there's rules for banners for these units, but there's no actual model holding a banner or holding a horn.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know. I will definitely be showing off some of these in future videos. I don't think I quite know enough to want to make a video like pretending that I know how to convert models, but
Oh,
there's a
come
couple
on,
that I'm
man.
quite proud of here. Yeah.
Look, if you were having fun, you like doing it. I've made several videos about converting. Like I did the whole Blight King to 40K like Terminator, right? I don't know anything about converting, like other than essentially what we've been talking about, like cut crap up, put things in where they look good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, and if anything, and I even mentioned it in that video, like people like Trent from Miscast and Jeremy from Blackmagic, who have been really on this train of Nurgle, you know, of the like, I want it to look ridiculous. I want it to look like however I want it to look. It doesn't actually matter. Like realistically, in our space and in this side of our hobby where, we're watching videos and interacting, they've opened that up for a lot of people. Like, I probably wouldn't have done that otherwise. And I went for it. And like, I'm really happy with the way those turned out. Like, I even somebody commissioned me to do a bunch of other ones of those. So, it's like it didn't even matter. Like I got a lot of comments on like, well, you should have done this. You should have used this tool. You should have prepped the model. Like, what? Doesn't matter. It looks awesome.
I actually am looking to solicit some of those comments though, because I would like to get better at this. But
Well,
maybe
yeah,
maybe I'll make a video when I get my third set of 10 warriors here. Like when
sure.
I
Go
can make
crazy with
3
them.
figures look different. Like maybe that's the bar I
Yeah.
gotta clear. On this topic, there's gonna be a not warband, whatever, Underworlds team, Warhammer
Yes.
Underworlds, Chaos Slaves to
Yes.
Darkness team, and so that's a set of 4 models. There's a Chaos Sorcerer, there's a Chaos Warrior with 2 weapons, kind of in a slambo pose, and then there are 2 more, hand weapon and shield Chaos Warriors. So instead of 10 starting poses, there are now 12 starting poses,
Right.
and
2
that's a
extra.
big deal. And you know what?
I mean, it gives you like 4
that
extra
Slambo
models.
guy, I can give him a shield. I'm sure there's a way. It won't be an identical
Yeah.
shield, but I can get a shield for him.
Just have him holding it straight up. Yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
great. Yeah. I mean, that's
That-
cool. I like we've talked about this before, how games like Underworld and Warcry and having these like war bands in a box for basically under $40
Mhm.
have like done so much for this hobby.
Yeah.
And that kind of thing where they can almost do like one-offs, because it's supporting several games, like gives us more opportunities to do fun things like that. And I really like that they can focus in on one faction. Like they say, we're just going to do a couple more Slaves to Darkness models because they're cool.
Yep.
That's so good. It's such a time to be alive. We didn't
Oh
used to
man,
get
I'm
that.
I'm gonna walk into that hobby store, buy like 3 packs of the new
Yeah.
Slaves to Darkness,
They'd be like, what are you doing there,
or
buddy?
Underworlds. Just gonna throw 3 packs of cards in the trash, and then
Yeah. You could still eBay those. You get $5 for those cards all day.
all right,
Don't be throwing away $15. That's most of a new box. Come on.
that'll be your Christmas present for me next year. Is
Yeah.
3 packs of Underworlds cards.
I like it. Okay. I've actually had the Corn Underworlds warband in this drawer for a while now. Like I had a pretty good deal on them, and it's like all the cards in the sleeves. They're all brand new, and it came in a fancy like foam fitted case and everything, like one of those battle foam cases. And like I just haven't done anything with it. Like I don't know what to do with it yet. I still haven't played the game either.
I played a couple of times when the game was brand new. I think I kind of liked it. I was actually listening to Trapped Under Plastic, and
Hmm.
Scott and John were talking about it, and it was kind of remember like, yeah, it was kind of a fun game. I might, you know what? I might only throw out 2 of those packs of cards and keep
There
one
you
of
go.
them for
There you go.
just in case.
I mean, if anything, like the collector in you should keep one set of something.
Yeah,
Like it's so hard to throw away
listeners, I
like
don't
actual
throw
product.
anything out. There's
I
no
know you
way I would
don't.
throw a deck of cards in the trash. Like, don't stop typing. Like it.
Yeah, no, it's fine. We don't actually. I would
Yeah, don't
never
throw
tell
anything
somebody to
out.
do that. Like,
Yeah.
give them to a friend. Like, I don't know. Find a little kid who likes the pictures. It doesn't matter. Like, you only need one set of cards, but you don't throw away. Like, I have the Warcry cards come with different languages. I still have like every iteration of each band in whatever languages they printed. I don't read any of those languages, but I'm not
Oh
throwing those
yeah, I
cards
can't
away.
throw those out either. They've got a
Right?
few
No.
pictures of models and stuff on there. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're like
Oh, they're the same as the
just in
English
case you
one.
want to play Warcry in Polish, like you
Exactly. You just never
in
know.
case at some point
right?
that would be easier for you, where maybe
The good
you
excuse
make
to
a
bring
new
up
friend and
is
you're the
yeah.
only language you have in common is the rule
Yeah.
set for Warcry. Yeah.
So if they need to know the whatever country, the whatever language, like you have that extra card to give to them as a good opponent,
Yeah.
so that
and
they
kind of
understand
like
your rules.
a sort of an enemy mine situation, or
Yeah.
at Tanagra sort of situation.
Tanagra, yeah.
Just trying to make a connection, and they just
That's such a
keep
deep
trying to
cut.
talk to you in Warcry language, and then you pull out the right Danish conversion chart, and
Right.
you're off to the races. Yeah.
We only communicate in metaphor.
Okay, I've changed my mind. I think we probably should throw those right in the trash.
Yeah, actually, there's really honestly no point in having them. Like,
But
yeah.
yeah, so I listened to Lords and Heroes, Don from Independent Characters, and
Mhm.
Justin or other guests. But I think in the latest episode he was talking about like, yeah, I was trying to sell some Guild Ball stuff, but it wasn't selling, so I threw it in the trash. Or like, what are you doing?
I hope not. That would be a very terrible thing to do.
It
I
really
really
hurts
hope
me
he
to
was
hear.
joking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don, stop it.
Don't throw any. If you're gonna throw anything away, like legitimately, I'm the guy that send it to. Just saying, even if it's half garbage,
Just
throwing that out there.
just
Be a box in the
put it out on the street. Labeled
Somebody
Guild
will find
Ball,
it.
free Guild Ball. Yeah.
Yeah, discontinued game.
Although then you're just gonna get nerds hanging out outside your door, and you don't
That's
really
true.
want that. Like,
You definitely don't want that.
it's gonna
Yeah.
be like, a roving squad of like 14-year-olds, and their one friend who's 16 and has a car is just gonna drive them by your house every day, and you don't
Everybody
want that.
has that friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Why would anybody throw that away?
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm just getting really into the conversions again, and I've had phases like this before, but I'm really enjoying this. And chaos is one of those forces that gives you a little more permission to do conversions and fun,
Yeah.
swaps and proxies and stuff.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I'm not playing Nurgle. It's not that much permission to do fun stuff, but behind me on my shelf here, I have Warhammer Quest Silver Tower, which was a box set I bought at a local store just because they happened to have it when everyone else was sold out, and it was on a discount. And I just knew that it had a bunch of cool models in that box, and someday they'll come in handy. And there's some cool stuff in there for Chaos. Like there's the War Chieftain, like the pretty famous model.
Yeah.
It was in one of the documentaries.
Ooh.
There's a lot of B-roll of a lot of B-roll of that War Chieftain there.
Yeah, lots.
And something I didn't realize, like I was just looking through the Silver Tower box the other day, but there's an Ogroid Thaumaturge in there, which is only relevant
in that box, really?
Yeah.
I guess that's when it came out. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
So I mentioned that because I'd been painting the Ogroid Myrmidon a few days ago, and I batch painted my Ogroid with a Fomeroid. But if I had realized I had a second Ogroid, maybe I would have batch painted 2 Ogroids and a Fomeroid, 3 Roids, triple your
All right.
Roids. Yeah.
All right. Here's an idea then.
Okay.
Take the other.
Roids.
This is whichever. This is just as bad as the bloodletter thing, and convert it.
Yeah.
Because you need more than one for your Slaves to Darkness army, and you should 100% convert that model.
Yeah, the Ogroid Thaumaturge is supposed to be like a demon ogre. I don't even know how, like a blue demon ogre. Mine's blue. Demon ogre thing. And the Myrmidon has a spear and a shield. And the Thaumaturge has a staff. Because the Thaumaturge, I guess, means mage. Means demon mage.
Yeah, okay. Demon mage.
I don't know.
Chaosy demon mage. Okay. Bloodthirster.
But yeah, he's holding a staff, and it's really easy to turn a staff into a spear. And if I just find a decently big shield for this Ogroid, boom, 2 Myrmidons, and they look different. Because, of course, the new awesome-looking Ogroid Myrmidon is a monopose figure, and there's not a whole lot you can do about it without a lot of green stuff and a lot of skill.
Yeah. Although I want to say it was who was it? Like Angel Geraldes or something, who did a massive conversion on one of those. Somebody like him, took most of the parts off, rearranged the arms, and it didn't look terrible. Okay. Because a lot of it was just like, once you had the arm moved to where you wanted it or whatever, you kind of just sanded it back to where it was and filled the gaps, right? So it didn't look too bad because there's a lot of like smooth surfaces on those like large muscle groups. So as long as it was smooth, I think you'd be all right.
Okay.
But even like a wrist twist on that guy, right? Because he's kind of holding the staff, even if it was just twisted up a little, something a little more threatening or whatever. Like the head might be difficult. I don't know, something though. I bet you could do it.
Yeah. Turning an Ogroid Thaumaturge into a Myrmidon would be quite easy though. Just need the shield.
Right, yeah.
So there's a second Myrmidon. I haven't played this game. I haven't played this army ever. I haven't played this game in a long time.
Yeah, who knows?
I have no idea how many Myrmidons I need.
Probably like 8.
But it would be cool to have 2 unique ones since they're both monopose models.
I mean, I figure since you have the models, it's like if you're planning on building this army and you're actually going to finish your first ever army, which really needs to be reiterated here, first ever in 25 years. Like go to town, man. Like if that model can fit in your army, it's like it really only goes into Slaves to Darkness. I mean, you can play it in Warcry as well, so you can have something slightly unique.
It works really well with like Tzeentch or something. Like I think it goes with one of the gods pretty well. Yeah.
Yeah, Tzeentchian. It's very Tzeentchy. Yeah.
But Chaos also has chariots, and you don't want to have the same drivers in all your chariots. You just put some weirdos as passengers in one of your chariots. It also has the Shrine to Chaos, which is just like a palanquin being carried by 2 ogres. I'd put anybody riding up on there.
That's true. Yeah. Which you obviously need to have one of those.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you have to. I don't think you have a choice. It's like
I have one of those. Don't worry.
There you go.
Yeah.
I found a chariot on eBay a while back. Haven't painted it yet, but like I don't know, the chariots, there's a lot more going on in those than kind of meets the eye. They're really cool.
Yeah, there's some cool stuff in that. The driver for the Chaos Chariot has a big old cape, a big distinctive cape on that guy.
Right.
So you don't really want necessarily 2 of that exact same model on 2 chariots, especially if they're in like the same unit. But chariots are great. You just throw any weirdo back there.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I've got the Khorne blood secutor or something. He came with the first AOS starter set, and
the
blood
whippy guy?
something. Yeah, with the whippy guy. There you go.
Whippy guy. Yeah, blood secretor.
But that's what you need for a cherry. Blood secretor. Yeah, that's what you need for a cherry. You need a whippy guy.
Yeah.
Trade out one whippy guy for another, and then you got a spare whippy guy to use for something else. You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh,
it's
even
together.
What is it? The corpse cart with the guy on it. That'd be a good whippy guy for that cart. Yeah.
Yeah, you just gotta.
That's a good one.
Yeah, convert bravely. That's what we're saying.
Convert bravely.
All right.
Exactly.
I'm done talking about how excited I am for this army for this week.
For this. All right, we'll catch you up on that sofa story next week.
I'm gonna keep talking about my army and how excited I am about my army next week. It'll just be like hanging out at the game store. Yeah.
Well, we talking about Gaslands for the next 3 hours if you want.
Well, we could.
Got the book.
Do you?
Yeah, I actually bought the book. That's as far as I've gotten.
Hey, that's a start. I've got 10 cars. I picked up 10 Gaslands cars at the grocery store back when I regularly went to the grocery store. And someday I'll paint up those cars as like little post-apocalyptic fun mobiles.
Yeah, as soon as because like having a small male child, I don't know, they tend to lean generally towards cars and Legos and stuff like that, and my son loves Hot Wheels. So I have a lot of stock for painting up some Gaslands. And he'll never know. I just take them.
That was going to be my next question. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hundreds. Your child miss his favorite Corvette? Or?
Like he likes the bigger trucks, monster trucks, and weirdly like the semi trucks and the hauler trucks. So I've got a bunch of, actually I have some really old Hot Wheels that would be almost a shame to convert into Gaslands cars because they're like red line 1960s kind of thing that could be worth money. But like there's a couple of channels that I watch that restore Hot Wheel cars in the very similar vein to what I do on my channel. And like I've been interested in that for a long time. So it's kind of like, you know, I want to do some of that, but I want to make some Gaslands. We'll see.
All right, so we're going to transition from our usual ramble into take a quick look at the comment section here. We've got a lot of good ones, and they are piling up because we ramble for an hour and a half, and then we get to get to this phase of the podcast. But we've got a good one that we'll get into, and we're saving more for later, so keep them coming. Anyway, TH writes into us, would love to know more about how you guys keep up your motivation to do painting, make videos, etc.
This is a good one because obviously we're starting the new year, 2021. And a lot of the beginning of the year is that like fresh motivation. And I think a lot of people find it hard to kind of ride that wave throughout the whole year. You know, like it goes for a lot of things. People start something in January, they make it to February and they're done. For miniature painting, I think having certain things in place, like a hobby streak, I know it's been working really well for you, Brent. The hobby streak is still going strong. What number are you on?
I'm still on it, yeah.
Like day 48 or something?
68.
68.
Hey, by the time people listen to this, it might even be 75. Or it might be like 2, but we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean I think that's or 2. Either way, it's still going.
Still right? Good.
Yeah, like that's a really cool way to keep up your motivation. Like if you're almost being held accountable by something. To the other thing that TH said about making videos. I'm gonna call back to earlier in this episode when I talked about that weird feeling that I had when I didn't post a video. It's kind of like not going to work for a week and knowing that you have a bunch of work to do when you get back, it's a weird thing, but there's a weird sense of motivation in that YouTube kind of feeds you just enough to keep you coming back. And yeah, I don't know, it's become such a regular thing as far as my life goes. Like, I probably wouldn't hobby as much if I didn't have something like YouTube to actually hold me accountable. You
Yeah,
know?
I'm sure we could probably draw some parallels there, or learn some lessons from that. But
Yeah.
yeah, the making videos motivation is actually fairly easy once you're into it, because there's a
Yeah.
lot of feedback loops there. There's the guilt of not making something. There's the
Uh-huh.
concerned viewers who haven't heard from you for a while, and then there's the positive reinforcement of
Mhm.
wanting to see those clicks and views goes up. So there's all of the symptoms of addiction are built into why we make YouTube videos.
Yeah. I think that's probably why I have a problem with it so much. Very addictive personality.
uh, but on the whole, yes, we enjoy it and we are addicted to doing it.
Yes.
And part of what's fun about it is because people do watch and interact with us and are excited about the hobby that we're excited about. And so
Yeah.
that may be part of why just getting into the habit of posting on any social media your updates about how you're doing, what you got done, the models you're excited about, that's probably why that works. And so whether you're more into Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Tumblr, Blogspot, Reddit,
Yeah.
MySpace,
Going.
It's like
AOL.
Bebo.
Vivo? That's a video sharing site, right?
I don't know. I lost it. I lost the plot, but
Yeah, I don't know how deep that goes. Forums, just forums.
Forums. You got your 4chans, you got your 8chans, you got your
What a thing
1D 4chans,
Oh
you got your
God. I don't even want to go.
like the
that is not motivation.
No,
Like,
don't do that. Never
don't do
mind. We
that.
went too far. Stop
this way
around
too far.
MySpace. Yeah.
MySpace is coming back.
So you guys on MySpace or?
Yeah. Oh, one of my favorites.
So there's lots of ways to find motivation, but if you are connecting with folks and getting into the habit of posting, for real, like the hobby streak for me actually has made me more productive for the last 68 days or so. And
you've gotten
talking
like
about it,
triple
like
the
I
amount
know
of
I need to
content.
go post like as soon as we get done with this call, Casey, I'm going to go post something on there. And it
Don't
really
do
is
that.
something like during the course of the day, it crosses my mind a couple of times. What is it that I'm going to post today? What's the progress that I've made today? And I mean, it's almost like, when you have a real job and you're thinking about when the boss wanders by, what am I going to tell her? Like, what am I going to tell her that I did today? Like, what's the progress report? What's the, like, oh no, that's not working. Oh no, I haven't done that, but check this out. Check out this thing that like is an actual tangible thing that has been accomplished. Yeah. Like,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, somehow
so,
the internet is the boss. And they'll come a knocking if you don't do something.
yeah, nobody's really gonna call you if you overstep your hobby streak. I don't think.
No. I mean,
I haven't seen that yet.
like if Dana Howell stopped doing her hobby streak, you don't think people
that's
would be a little
point.
concerned? Yeah.
So Dana Howell is on like day 700 of her hobby streak, or just
It's
something insane. And that one Twitter user is enough to keep me going, because it's like 68 is not a large streak that I'm worried about falling off of. It is no problem to keep this going. I have to keep this going like 600 days past whenever Dana Howell gets hit by a car, because like I that's the only way to ever top that number. Like
exactly. I
We
mean,
wish you health and happiness, Dana. Like that.
yeah, I really hope you don't get hit by a car. That'd be cruel.
Absolutely
Why
not.
would
No.
you? No.
I'm sorry. I'm just saying nothing stops her. Like it.
Right. Maybe that wouldn't stop her. Maybe the car would be broken and she'd be just fine. Hobby Streak
Yeah, her just
789 got hit by a
in the
car.
hospital, her eyes just
Bought
flicker
paint.
open, like pulls out her phone.
Yeah.
Like came up with a new paint scheme, like teal and orange. Are you gonna make?
I like
don't know.
that. Teal and orange. That's good.
But yeah, it really is this like, all right, gotta get something tangible to say that I did today.
Yeah.
And there are plenty of small actions that you can take in a day that move things ahead. Like if you're thinking about it and it's actually a reasonably nice day, go get something primed.
Yeah.
Remember to pick up, I don't know, some hobbies. Remember to pick up parchment paper when you go to the grocery store. Like there, if it becomes something that you're actively thinking about, not just like thinking about like I'm gonna scroll Instagram, I'm gonna check out YouTube, what should I buy next, but thinking about what actual accomplishment am I gonna tell people that I did today. And they do not have to be huge, like a picture of a roll of Reynolds parchment paper and say like excited to make my own very first wet palette or whatever. Like, hey, that's solid. Like your boss wanders by your cubicle at work and you're like, look, I haven't gotten those reports done yet, but we're about to make a innovative new system for keeping paint moist. You didn't say, not saying I got nothing done. That's not nothing.
Right.
Not nothing.
Anything hobby adjacent that keeps you going. Yeah. Speaking of the wet palettes though, I went out, so I got my wife the Ferrero Rocher chocolate balls. You know what I'm saying? They're in the gold packaging and stuff. I purposely went out of my way to find the somewhat large square box of them that apparently is like the best to turn into a wet palette when those chocolates are gone. I've been on good authority that those make the best wet palettes. Just saying. Hobby Streak. Also Christmas shopping.
So like on the 25th, were you hounding your wife to hurry up and finish those chocolates? Or
she hasn't even opened them yet. I'm getting so anxious.
Get on that.
Like I'm thinking about dumping it out and be like, I need this box. I gotta make a video.
Yeah, just in the refrigerator, there's a bunch of little baggies with chocolate balls in them. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't know if that I've heard good things about that particular box, but
I'm excited to see what becomes of that. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. I think it'll be fun.
Good. But okay, so there's the outside motivation if you want to be using other people and social media to keep you accountable. In better times, you could use game events and stuff to do the same thing. Is a little bit of outside motivation to get that squad or army or team or whatever done, or competition piece or what is. I think the missing bit is how do you find that motivation in yourself without relying on outside stressors to do that for you?
I mean, that's really tough though, because like that's kind of what motivates a lot of people in this hobby is the outside stressors. Like, I mean, it used to be, like I got a game on Saturday and I got to paint this unit for that game. Escalation leagues, right? So I don't even know, like thinking back to when we both started on YouTube, like what was our motivation back then? I don't even know why. I mean, I guess I sort of rhetorical, but like we both just started and we just kept going.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like sharing is part of the hobby, whether that's, going to a game at the store and pulling out your army and plopping it down on the table to to show people how cool your artworks are, or whether it is posting on Facebook or Instagram or whatever. And for me, it was kind of one step past that of wanting to share my work, but I chose to share it on YouTube is what I was doing. But yeah, so the kind of keeping going so that you can share your work with people is one thing, but I think a lot of it is just habit, and through habit, I think, comes enjoyment. And I actually am a person who really does enjoy the time I spend painting once I sit down at the table and put paint on the brush.
Right, once you start.
Yeah. If I'm just messing around on the computer, watching Netflix or whatever, like, it's very easy to not actually start the hardest step is the first one. The hardest step is sitting down at your paint station and putting paint on the brush.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, it's definitely good practice to just sit down, put paint on your brush, and see where it takes you. Like, even if you, I mean, you're probably going to do something, right? If I sit down on my hobby desk, I'll do something. Yeah.
And it doesn't, for me, it doesn't take too long before I actually get sucked into whatever I'm doing. And kind of that first step it does take a little bit of coercion to get me to sit down at the hobby desk for the first time, especially if I haven't been there for like a week, actively sitting at my painting desk. But once I'm into a project, it grows on you and it pulls you more and more in, and it becomes much easier. Like, I've been working on these Chaos Warriors for a couple days straight now, and I'm excited to get back to it tomorrow. Like, I'm excited for the next step. It is not a struggle right now for me on this project at all. Yeah.
That's always nice.
Yeah, just a little bit of discipline leads you to that slide of pure motivation and enjoyment. That'll take you the rest of the way.
Yeah. I think if you have a goal in mind too, like if you want to finish an army, I mean, especially like for you right now, like, want to finish that army.
Oh yeah.
You need to finish that army.
Gotta.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, even when I was taking a break last week, I was still like, well, I'm taking a break from like my job, but it's also my hobby. So I still painted like 40 blood letters, just batched them out. Like, no big deal. So I still painted. I also played Gran Turismo a lot, but I got to take a break between some of those heats. It's a lot of work.
I understand.
Yeah.
All right, that's what we get.
Yeah, I think so. And on that note, thank you again for joining us on another episode of Paint Bravely. If you enjoyed this podcast, please help us out by leaving us a review on iTunes, subscribing to the YouTube channel, and sharing this message with your hobby friends. And as always, we appreciate each and every one of you for listening, and we will talk to you next time.
Happy New Year, everyone. Let's make it a great one.